Please.
It's my privilege to welcome all the departmental officers and staff members on behalf of DGTS Mumbai Zonal Unit to this online webinar. I would like to request Principal ADG Sir, who is an IRS of 1994 batch, to kindly deliver the welcome address and introduce our two panel speakers also. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, and very good afternoon to all the participants. Today we have two eminent professionals who are going to give us guidance on the new income tax regime for individuals and employees, and also on the statutory functions of our DDOs. Mr. Maruti Sawant is an experienced practicing tax professional and company secretary. And we also have the honor of having Shri Vinod Kumar Sharma, who is a very senior chartered accountant and also an expert in both direct and indirect taxes. So I welcome all my colleagues and all the participants. I intensely appreciate the support and cooperation extended by our guests, our panelists, as also all the participants. I would like to mention that as part of CBIC, DGTS has various units all over the country. 6 zonal units are there. We are in the Mumbai zonal unit, and we are covering the entire state of Maharashtra and Goa. Our mandate is to reach the maximum number of taxpayers and other stakeholders to create awareness about laws, rules, procedures, changes, as also to clarify the doubts and other issues arising amongst the stakeholders. It has been a constant endeavor in DGTS and in WZU to bring in and have experts discuss and deal with current and relevant topics, as also to have a constant dialogue with trade, importers, exporters, tax practitioners in enriching our knowledge, enabling the taxpayers to become aware of the changes in procedures, to gather their feedback, to find out the issues which are causing any kind of problems, and to enhance the day-to-day compliance. We have had the honor and privilege of hosting several seminars, webinars, and other meetings in various parts of Maharashtra and Goa. And we have been taking regular inputs from trade and industry. Our today's webinar has been due to a lot of queries being raised by our officers, as also other people who required guidance on the new tax regime. All our DDOs have to deduct taxes, and if they deduct incorrect amount of tax, it causes the problem for the taxpayer as also for the DDOs themselves. I'm hoping that the expertise of Mr. Maruti Sawant and Vinod Kumar Sharma ji, Vinod Kumar Sharma ji became a chartered accountant in the year 1997. He has been in practice since then. He is practicing in Delhi, both in direct and indirect taxes. He has worked with several large organizations in various areas. And Mr. Maruti Sawant is having his practice in Mumbai metropolitan area. He has his office in Thane. He has been dealing with direct and GST related matters with number of organizations, including several central government departments. Now, I am hoping that this discussion will enrich all the participants, and I request all the participants to make use of this session to send us their feedback queries and questions. With these words, I welcome you all to our insightful seminar, and I hand over the mic back to my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind and encouraging words, sir. And today, as we all know that we have come up with the topic guidance on new tax regimes for individuals and employers, as well as for videos. As we all know that in last 3-4 years, there are some changes in the income tax filings. And now we are having the option of new tax regime as well as old tax regime. And after 2023 Finance Act, one amendment has been introduced in which the new tax regime has been made a default scheme, where if you will not opt for the old tax regime, you will be like by default into the new tax regime if you are individual taxpayer or a Hindu undivided family sort of thing. And there are so many questions that arise in our minds whether the old tax regime was more beneficial for us, providing us more options of tax benefits or like availability of exemptions and deductions, or the new tax regime will be giving us a better opportunity by opting for a lower slabs and the lesser tax amount that is coming against those slabs. So today we are having two eminent professionals, Mr. Maruti Sawant, as sir has introduced, and Mr. Vinod Kumar Sharma. We will definitely be immensely benefited by their experience in this line, and we will be able to have our queries raised to them. Once we will, first we will like to have the presentation given by both of them, and which can be followed by the queries by the attendees. So they will be taking the queries once the presentation is over. So I would like to first introduce Mr. Maruti Sawant, who is a practicing tax professional and a company secretary, and handling income tax and GST related matters from last 15 years, specialized in income tax, quarterly ETDs, return filing of state and central government departments. And now I would like to hand it over to Mr. Maruti Sawant. Mr. Maruti, you can come up with your presentation and give it to our attendees for their benefit.
Yes, sir.
करना है क्या?
वो भी चालू कर दो। इसको भी साइड में ले लो।
तो शेयर पीपीटी
वॉइस भी क्लियर आना चाहिए।
Praveen, is there some technical glitch with this?
नो सर, अभी चालू हो जाएगा, कुछ इशू नहीं अभी। ठीक है, मैं स्टार्ट करता हूँ। फर्स्ट आई वुड लाइक टू गिव थैंक्स। आप इसको निकाल दीजिए तो आप आवाज यहाँ पे गूंजते रहेगा। ठीक है। All the panelists who has invited me to deliver webinar cum seminar on this most important topic which we are facing now, that is old tax regime versus new tax regime. Generally हम देखते हैं कि ओल्ड टैक्स रेजिम न्यू टैक्स रेजिम इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया सबसे पहले फाइनेंस बजट 2020 में। तो फाइनेंस बजट 2020 में न्यू टैक्स रेजिम आने के बाद स्टार्टिंग में गवर्नमेंट कुछ बहुत सारे एग्जम्पशन डिडक्शन अवेलेबल कर दिए। उसके बाद धीरे धीरे थोड़ा सा एग्जम्पशन बढ़ा। अभी हम पहले तो ये क्लियर करेंगे कि ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम और न्यू टैक्स रिजिम में क्या डिफरेंस है, वो वाला पार्ट पहले कवर कर देंगे। तो फर्स्ट उससे पहले मैं DGTS डायरेक्टर जनरल से को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि आज के मंडे के दिन उन्होंने ये ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम वर्सेस न्यू टैक्स रिजिम ये स्पेशल टॉपिक पे वेबिनार कम सेमिनार अरेंज कर दिया, उसके लिए पहले मैं उनका धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। उसके बाद हम चालू करते हैं अपना सेमिनार कम वेबिनार। एक मिनट प्रेजेंटेशन थोड़ा आगे नहीं जा रहा है, एक मिनट है क्या ऊपर? स्लाइड आगे आगे नहीं
स्लाइड नेक्स्ट कैसे है?
ठीक है। चलो थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल डिफिकल्टीज के लिए मैं क्षमा चाहता हूँ। एज यू नो कि न्यू टैक्स रिजिम सबसे पहले इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया बजट 2020 में, फ्रॉम 1 अप्रैल 2020 में। उसके कुछ बेनिफिट्स और एडवांटेजेस हम देखेंगे, कंपेयर करेंगे ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम वर्सेस न्यू टैक्स रिजिम। तो ऑलरेडी आप सबको पता ही रहेगा कि न्यू टैक्स रिजिम में ज्यादा कुछ एग्जम्पशन डिडक्शन है ही नहीं। बहुत सारे लोग ये सोच के न्यू टैक्स रिजिम एडॉप्ट करते हैं कि उसमें लोअर टैक्सेस रेट है। ठीक है, तो लोअर टैक्स रेट्स है लेकिन उसके कुछ डिसएडवांटेजेस भी है, वो भी हम बात करेंगे। सबसे पहले देखते हैं एडवांटेजेस ऑफ न्यू टैक्स रिजिम। लोअर टैक्स रेट है एज कंपेयर टू ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम। ओल्ड टैक्स रेट में आपको सबको पता रहेगा कि स्लैब है, इनकम स्लैब और रेट 5% अप टू 2.5 लाख, कुछ नहीं आपको नील टैक्स 2.5 to 5 लाख 5%। उसके बाद सीधा 5 लाख टू 10 लाख सीधा 20%, और 10 लाख एंड अबव सीधा आपको 30% से टैक्स पे करना है। वेयर व्हेन वी कंपेयर टू न्यू टैक्स रिजिम में लोअर टैक्स रेट है, अप टू 3 लाख कुछ टैक्स नहीं है, 3 to 7 लाख, 3 to पहले पिछले साल 6 लाख था, अब अभी 3 to 7 लाख आपको कुछ टैक्स नहीं पे करना है, 5%। उसके बाद सेकंड स्लैब आता है 7 to 10, उसमें 10%। उसके बाद 10 to 12 उसमें 15%, 12 to 15 उसमें 20%, एंड मोर देन 15 लाख सीधा आपको 30% से टैक्स पे करना है। तो लोअर टैक्स रेट है इसमें न्यू टैक्स रिजिम में, लेकिन आपको जितने एग्जम्पशन डिडक्शन जितने मिलते वो सैक्रिफाइस फर्गो करने पड़ेंगे, तो वो एक डिसएडवांटेज उसमें है। उसके बाद दूसरा एडवांटेजेस है सिंप्लिसिटी एंड ईज ऑफ कंप्लायंस। न्यू टैक्स रिजिम बहुत ही सिंपल है, आपको कुछ ज्यादा दिमाग लगाने का जरूरी नहीं। जो टैक्सेबल इनकम टोटल इनकम आएगा उसके ऊपर सीधा आपको टैक्स कैलकुलेट करना है। कंप्लायंस भी बहुत इजी है, आप जब भी रिटर्न फाइल करेंगे, आपका पर्सनल रिटर्न फाइल करेंगे, तभी आपको वेदर ऑप्टिंग इन और ऑप्टिंग आउट वो सिलेक्ट करके सीधा, अगर आप इन रहना चाहते हो न्यू, अभी इस साल से बाय डिफॉल्ट न्यू टैक्स बाय डिफॉल्ट कर दिया है। मतलब अगर आप इंटेंशनली पर्पसफुली या डिलिबरेटली ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम में जाना चाहते हो वही आ सकते हो, नहीं तो आप डायरेक्ट बाय डिफॉल्ट किसी कवर जाएंगे न्यू टैक्स रिजिम में। सो ये कंप्लायंस भी बहुत इजी है, आपको ज्यादा टैक्स प्लानिंग टैक्स मैनेजमेंट कुछ करने का जरूरत नहीं है। उसके बाद नो नीड ऑफ टैक्स प्लानिंग,
I think we are having some technical glitch here. So the slide that was presented by Sri Maruti, that is having some technical issues. I would like to request Sri Vinod Sharma ji, sir, kindly take over from here, and it would be really a big help that you take it from here and take it further, because there is some technical issue with the Maruti G's slide and the system on which he is working. So kindly take it from here, sir.
Not a problem. I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon to all. And first of all, I would like to thank Sri Sumit Kumar ji, Principal ADG, DGTS Mumbai, for such a nice word, and also to our moderator, Sri Pradeep Jajaria ji, for his kind words and introduction, and for providing me with an opportunity to interact with such a learned participant and audience. So as we had discussed already that we will be discussing on the topic which is like which tax regime, whether new or old, which should be more beneficial or which has to be opted. As Mr. Maruti was like just mentioning that this new regime that has been introduced by the government is a very simplified form of income tax, where most of the deductions and exemptions has been withdrawn, and the logic behind this withdrawal of exemption and deduction from the government part is that it is very difficult for the government part to have a control of what is the whatever deduction and exemptions are there, whether there is a proper like compliance for that or not. So mostly we are moving to that regime where there will be no deduction exemption available. It will be a simplified form of like income tax. So with that, I would just like to share my so I think this slide is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir. Yes, sir.
Visible. So this has been organized by Director General of Taxpayer Mumbai for the beneficial of their employees and for the benefit of large audience. So the topics that we will be sharing today will be the comparison between the new regime and the old regime. What are the deductions that is allowed from salary? What are the deductions that can be claimed from gross total income? Then in detail, we will be discussing like interest on housing loan, which is like availed by most of the persons. Then education loan, because nowadays we see that most of the persons are availing loan for the education of their children, either here or overseas. Then NPS is there, which is more like used by most of them. And then lastly, we will discuss what is the tax regime which is more beneficial to the employee. One more slide. Okay, I think some problem with your slide part, but so I think let me just share one my detail. This I think it is visible. Is this slide visible?
Yes, you are visible.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you. So, as discussed, like this new provision was inserted by Finance Act 2020. It was introduced in the assessment year 21-22. But from previous year, like from the assessment year 24-25, it has been made as a default tax regime. So by default, now everyone will be falling under this new tax regime until and unless we are withdrawing it from this scheme. So this scheme is applicable for individual HGF, which is mostly applicable in our case. AOP like BOI, that is not relevant for us, so we are just leaving it. So there are certain conditions which is to be fulfilled for like opting for this new regime that is covered under section 15 BAC. So in this case, new regime, the total income will be computed without claiming any specified exemptions and deductions. So most of the exemptions and deductions will not be there. There is hardly 2 or 3 deductions and exemptions that we will detail. We will have a detailed discussion. Then, if any like set of losses, like any brought forward losses are there, carry forward of losses is there, so that will not be allowed to be set up. So there may be some cases where the employees or the person is having some carry forward of losses in respect of capital gain. Suppose someone has made a capital gain loss in the previous year that has been carried forward by them, so that will not be allowed to be set up. Then again, there can be some losses which is from house property. When we avail home loan, there is a deduction that is available. Even in some of the cases, we have seen that there is some carry forward losses is there. So that benefit also that you have to forego, not only for the current year, but for the previous years also that has to be foregone. So the total income will be calculated without claiming any exemptions. So what are the exemptions and deductions that will be not there? Basically, these are applicable in we see that these are the cases which is mostly applicable for salaried employees. Like LTA will not be there, HRA allowances that will not be allowed, any official personal allowances, these are allowances, not deductions. So this will not be there. If any income from minor income is there, that will not be allowed to be exemptions will not be there. Then entertainment allowance, that will not be allowed. Professional tax, that will not be allowed. Any interest that is being claimed for home loan, that will not be allowed. All deductions that is falling under 80C2U, that will not be allowed, except one that is relevant is 80CCD subsection 2, that is NPS. Any contribution made by the employer towards NPS, that is allowed. So that way we will also discuss in some detail. And like some of the exemptions that will again remain, it's not like that all the exemptions are gone. So any allowances that you get for doing your travel, if you have gone on a tour and travel and any expenses has been incurred, so that will be still allowed because that is not any part of your income. Again, if any allowances has been given for tour or in connection with the transfer for meeting your daily charges in normal course of duty, so that will be still allowed as a exemption. Then again, any expenditure that is incurred on conveyance while performing your duties or any conveyance that is related to your employment, that is will be allowed. And one thing that will not be allowed, that any free food or non-alcoholic beverage provided during that period, that will not be allowed. So these are the certain exemptions that will be still there. Then as we had discussed, there will be a new tax regime. There has been a change in the slab in the previous year. Now it is from up to 3 lakhs, it is nil. From 3 to 7 lakhs, it is 5%. And then 7 to 10, it is 10%. And likewise, the slab is there. So slab is easily available on the sites and everywhere so that you can have a look. Then under this new regime, there will be higher rebate under 87A. That is up to 7 lakhs, there will be no income. Up to 7 lakhs, there will be no tax. And there is a marginal relief in case like in what we have seen that in some of the cases where the income has gone from 7 lakh to say 7,20,000. So the previously, once your income is increasing by 10,000, the tax used to increase by 25,000. So now they have brought it at par. Whatever income increases above 7 lakh, that will be covered. The tax will be as good as to that level. Then there is no change in education cess and surcharge. Surcharge, there is a change in the new regime that is applicable for a persons having income above 5 crores, so that will not be mostly applicable in our case. So whether this new regime is optional or mandatory. So from last year onwards, it has been made as a mandatory, like new regime will by default will be your tax regime. So if you are not opting for any other scheme, other regime, by default, this new tax regime will be the default scheme, and it will, all the income will be computed as per old, it will be computed as per the new regime. If you want to switch to old regime, then you have to opt for that. One advantage is there for the salaried employee that they can choose this new regime or old regime every year. So like for business classes, they have a restriction. Like if one is availing new regime and they have opted for old regime and they want to come to the new regime, that means कि आप न्यू regime से old regime में गए और वापस आप न्यू regime में आते हैं तो फिर लाइफ लॉन्ग आपको न्यू regime में ही रहना है. बट जो सैलरीड क्लास है उनके लिए उन्होंने एक बड़ा अच्छा एक एडवांटेज दिया है कि एक बार भी आप यू कैन चूज बिटवीन न्यू regime एंड ओल्ड regime विदाउट एनी कंस्ट्रेंट every time every year. That option is open. You can switch between new to old to new regime. There is no such bar. You have to choose that scheme at the time of the filing. Practically, we have seen that you must be seeing that the DDO asks you to give an intimation fee, which option you want to choose, whether you want to choose the new regime or you want to choose the old regime. That X option has to be exercised by you at the mid of the year. But one advantage is there that even if you have opted for new regime or old regime and you have given this option to your DDO, आपने ये अपना ऑप्शन उनको दे दिया कि मैं ओल्ड regime में जाना चाहता हूँ. Still, at the time of the filing of the return, you have this option of switching from old to new to old. इसका मतलब ये हो रहा है कि आपके पास ये ऑप्शन फ्रीज नहीं हो रहा है. अगर आपने कोई भी अपना ऑप्शन एक्सरसाइज रॉन्गफुली भी कर लिया है, आपको लग रहा था कि न्यू में होना चाहिए था बट आपने ओल्ड का डिक्लेरेशन दिया या वाइसी वर्सा है, still at the time of filing you can check whether which regime is more beneficial, old or new, and you can always opt for that. So that is the good advantage that they have given to the salaried employee. Then we come to deductions. What are the deductions that are available to the salaried employee? One is the standard deduction, which we all know. There has been a change in a standard deduction in the previous year. From the current year till previous year, it was 50,000 for both the old and the new regime. But from this year, from this current year, this standard deduction will be, this deduction amount will be 75,000 for the persons who are opting for the new regime. And the persons who are opting for the old regime, still they can avail a deduction of 50,000. Then deduction for entertainment allowances are there. Professional tax allowances can also be deducted from the salary. So these deductions, entertainment allowances and professional tax allowances are applicable only for the persons who are choosing the old regime. New regime के लिए I get the benefit of only standard deduction, that is 75,000 का standard deduction मुझे इस साल से मिलेगा जो पिछले साल 50,000 था. Then we come to deductions, which are, what are the deductions which are available from my gross total income. तो मेरी जो इनकम होती है, इनकम टैक्स के अंदर में इन्होंने पांच हेड्स दिए हैं. There are 5 heads under which the income gets clubbed. Income from salary, then house property, then business profession, capital gains, and income from other sources. So these are the 5 heads, and mostly in our cases, profit, this business and profession will not be applicable because a salaried person is not allowed to do any business and profession. But one thing I would just like to caution here, what we have seen that many persons, SSC nowadays are dealing in shares and securities, either in their own name or in the name of their spouses or children, and they are doing F&O transactions also. The one thing, just like to clarify that F&O transactions falls under business and profession and not under capital gain. तो अगर कोई भी बंदा F&O का ट्रांजेक्शन कर रहा है तो उसको वो फॉर्म ITR 1 और 2 नहीं जाएगी, उसके लिए ITR 3 होगा and that has to be shown under business and profession. So F&O transaction करने वाले they should be more cautious and they should report in the correct form and this one. Then we come to the deductions, whatever deductions that is available. So most of these deductions that is under chapter 6A, that is 80C to 80U, that will be applicable for the old scheme. So like 80C, we all know 80C covers like LIC, education expenses, contribution to provident fund, home loan की जो payment होती है, principal part that comes under 80C. ELS जो हम equities में डालते हैं with a lock-in period of 3 years, ELS that comes under 80C. Fixed deposit that is for a period of 5 years, that also comes under 80C. So that is allowed for individuals and HUF and the limit is 1,50,000. Then under 80CCC, that is annuity plan, there we can also make an investment of 1 lakh, so maximum allowed is 1,50,000. Then NPS 80CCD1. 80CCD1 में मेरी जो लिमिट है वो 10% ऑफ द सैलरी होती है, उतने तक का मैं एनपीएस में अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन कर सकता हूं. बट वन थिंग हैज टू बी लाइक टेकन केयर, दिस 80C 80CCC और जो पेंशन 80CCD1 है, इसकी ग्रॉस डिडक्शन इज रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टू 1,50,000. सो इवन इफ आई एम मेकिंग ए investment of 1,50,000 under NPS, 1,50,000 under LIC, my limit will be 1,50,000. NPS का 80CCD1 or 80C or 80CCC maximum deduction that is allowed is 1,50,000. Again, additional deduction has been given for NPS 80CCD subsection 1B, where we can make additional deduction of 50,000 additional. So 1,50,000 NPS plus this is the 50,000 additional that we can make an investment. This additional investment can be made. So it is out of, it is not within 1,50,000, 1,50,000 plus 50. So total I can make a 2 lakhs. Then NPS that is under section 80CC subsection 2, that is employer's contribution to NPS. Here the limit is for 14% of the salary. So I can claim a deduction up to 14% of my salary, whatever contribution is made to NPS. And then Agniveer, which is not applicable in most of our cases, 80D, which is Mediclaim. Here we can make and we can claim a deduction up to 1 lakh. So 1 lakh mostly in that case where the person is above 60 and the parents also gets covered here. So they get an additional exemption of 50,000. So total is 1 lakh. But in CGHS cases, it will be 25,000. So, and plus additional 5,000 you can claim for this, I think additional 5,000 is there for preventive health checkup. So 30,000. If you are making contribution under the CGHS, it is 25,000 plus 5,000. But if you have taken an additional Mediclaim, so there you have to see if you are falling under senior citizens and your parents are also under senior citizen, so the maximum benefit of 1 lakh can be taken. Then there are certain other deductions which are not generally used, but can be, you should be knowing that if any person is like any family member is suffering from any disability, then under 80DD we can claim 70,000, 75,000, and if it is a severe disability, we can claim up to 1,25,000. So you must be aware these provisions are there. And if anyone is like incurring any expenditure on the medical treatment of these prescribed, like it is double DB, so they can claim an additional deduction of 40,000. And if any member is a senior citizen, so 1 lakh can be claimed. So we have seen in some of the cases that the person were incurring this expenditure, but they were not aware of these deductions and they claimed it. Then one important is education loan that we will discuss in a bit detail. So whatever interest has been paid for education loan, higher education, it has to be for the purpose of higher education. We can claim a deduction of interest. Then some other deductions are there. Home loan के cases में है, if the loan has been taken for this specified period, suppose April 16 to March 17, then we can claim 50,000. If loan has been taken from the period of April 2019 to March 22, additional benefit of 1,50,000 can be taken. So you can check with your documents whether these loans, if you have taken any home loan, whether this loan was taken in this period. अगर इस period के अंदर हुआ है, तो you can claim it under this. Then one nice deduction has been introduced, which is like if anyone is purchasing an EV, then he can claim a deduction of 1,50,000. So any person who is buying any vehicle which is EV, they can claim a deduction of 1,50,000. Then deduction for donation made to specified funds are there. If it is specified for fund, 100% is there. If it is non-specified one, then it can be up to 50%. Then certain other deductions which are not generally used is like donation made to the political party, to the electrical fund, which is not generally used, but these can be, if these any deductions are made, that can be like taken care. One point I just like to highlight, in some of the cases we have seen that the person is getting a royalty in respect of some books, they have written some books and they are getting a royalty. So there you can claim an additional deduction of 3 lakh. So which is big sum. So if any person is getting royalty from in respect of books or for patents, then they can claim a deduction of 3 lakhs. Then interest, we all know 10,000, and if it is a case of senior citizen, 50,000 is there. And under ATU, then it can be 75,000 and 1,25,000. Only thing is that no deductions will be allowed to the SSC who are claiming this new regime. Under new regime, only 80CCDU, that is employers' contribution to the NPS is allowed. So standard deduction is allowed, and then this NPS will be allowed. So once we compute our gross total income, whatever like deductions are there that we can deduct from this income, and whatever net income comes from there, we can calculate our tax and work it out. There are certain deductions which are not allowed from these incomes, like short-term capital gains, long-term capital gains, because these short-term capital gains and long-term capital gains, they are taxed at a very specified rate. Like short-term, it was till last year, it was 15%. From 23rd July onwards, it will be 20%. Same way, long-term capital gain, like 12.5%. Earlier, up to 22nd July, it was 10%. But there will be no deduction available against ATC to you against these incomes. Like if मेरे पास अगर कोई इनकम है फ्रॉम लॉटरी या क्रॉसवर्ड पजल्स या वर्चुअल डिजिटल एसेट्स जो कि आज के समय थोड़ा पॉपुलर हो चुका है, लाइक बिटकॉइंस भी ऑल नो, तो अगर मेरी कोई इनकम इन इनकम्स के अगेंस्ट में है तो मेरे को एटीसी और एटीयू का बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा. दिस विल बी टैक्स एट ए वेरी specified tax rate. I will just discuss in a bit detail home loan because ये हम लोगों ने देखा है कि बहुत समय लोगों का थोड़ा तो एक calculation mistake हो जाता है कि like if I have availed any home loan then interest is allowed. So interest up to 2 lakhs is allowed. Interest on home loan up to 2 lakhs I can claim as a deduction. And one thing that has to be kept in mind that if it is a let out property, if I have taken a house home which is let out, in that case there is no restrictions of loan, there is no restriction upper limit. So I can claim whatever interest I have paid that can be adjusted against my income and the whole interest amount can be set up against my other income. So that has to be taken care कि my let out property अगर मैंने property को किराए पे दे रखा है तो जो भी interest मैं दे रहा हूँ वो मैं तो पूरा का पूरा claim कर सकता हूँ. Same way is for a deemed let out. अगर income tax कहता है कि it is a deemed let out, then in that case I can claim my whole interest income as a deduction. So 30,000 was earlier. Now deduction allowed is 2 lakhs. So 2 लाख रुपए तक का जो इंटरेस्ट है उसको मैं सेल्फ ऑक्युपाइड प्रॉपर्टी के केस में कर सकता हूं और डिस्कस if it is a let out property then I can claim the whole amount. Condition is that the loan should have been taken after 1499, which is very common, and very important that if I have taken a loan I have to take care that the property I acquire that property within 5 years from the date of borrowing. वो मुझे देखना इम्पोर्टेंट है कि मैंने लोन ले लिया और वो प्रॉपर्टी अगर 5 साल के अंदर मैं एक्वायर नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ देन डिपार्टमेंट ऑल कैन क्वेश्चन एंड इट विल बी disallowed. So we have made an overview of what is the deduction that will be allowed. So if it is a let out property, whether it is for the purpose of purchase, construction, repair, renovation, reconstruction, the whole amount will be allowed. If it is deemed to be let out, then the whole amount will be let out. If it is a self-occupied for purpose of purchase and construction, it is restricted to 2 lakhs. And if it is for the purpose of repair, renovation and reconstruction, then the limit is 30,000. And if like any interest has been paid for pre-construction period, then I can claim that pre-construction period in a 5 equal installment. And from the date of acquisition of the property for the next 5 years in equal 5 installment, I can claim that interest. So if whatever interest has been paid during the pre-construction period, that is also allowed up to 2 lakhs. So one must take care of that. If any pre-construction loan interest is there, they should claim it. We have made a simple chart. Like if pre-construction period interest is there, whether how it will be allowed. So like if 30 lakhs loan, 7% interest, 2 lakh 10,000. So pre-construction period is 3 years and interest is 6 lakh 30,000. So the whole interest will be allowed in coming 5 years. Even if the loan has been repaid, still this 7 lakh 35,000, which is the pre-construction period, that will be allowed as a deduction. One thing very important, and in case of home loan, whether I am making the payment of EMI or not, that is not relevant. It is allowed on accrual basis. So the word used here is accrual basis, not cash basis. So even if no EMI has been paid, not a problem. I should claim that interest as my deduction. So that is not related to my payment. If any loan has been taken to pay the original loan, CBDT has clarified that still that is also allowed. If I had paid any loan outside India, that is also allowed. Only condition that TDS has to be deducted. So if I have taken an overseas loan, that will be allowed as a deduction, subject to the condition that TDS has to be deducted. Then CBDT has also clarified that any house building advance which is taken, that will be also allowed on accrual basis. Here also they have clarified that it is not on the cash basis. But if any like penal interest is there, any default EMI is there for which I am paying interest, that will not be allowed. And any deductions that is any like deductions for processing charges, brokerage commission, that is not allowed. I will just cover one more topic and then Pradeep ji, you can confirm whether Maruti ji is ready with his presentation or I should continue.
Yes.
So now education loan, we have seen that now in many of the cases, most of us are taking loan for the higher education of our children or in some of the cases for ourselves also. So education loan is also allowed. So interest on education loan is allowed. So any interest that has been paid for education loan, that is allowed. Education loan can be taken by the individual who can be either resident or non-resident. And that is for the purpose of himself or his relative. And relative means his spouse and his children. And also the student who is his legal guardian. So अगर कोई मेरा स्टूडेंट है जो इसका मैं लीगल गार्जियन हूँ और मैं कोई होम लोन एजुकेशन लोन लिया हूँ तो उसके इंटरेस्ट भी मुझे अलाउ होगा. Condition is that the loans would be taken for the purpose of higher education. Higher education CBDT has clarified that it has to be above senior secondary examination. So like any all engineering, MBA, MBBS, whatever it is there, that is allowed. One good thing that they have clarified that if the education loan has been taken for the purpose of higher education from a foreign university also. So overseas जो study है उसका craze बहुत बढ़ रहा है. So if I have paid any interest which has been taken for the purpose of higher education in a foreign university, that is also allowed. So how much deduction is allowed? So deduction is allowed only for the interest amount, not for the principal amount like in home loan. That is not there. That is not there. So you can only claim a deduction for interest part also. And for how many years it is allowed? It is allowed for 8 assessment years. 8 assessment years from the year in which the loan starts getting paid. So it commences with the year जहां से मेरी पेमेंट स्टार्ट होती है. तो मुझे बहुत ही थोड़ा कॉशियस रहना है कि जिस ईयर से मैंने पेमेंट करना स्टार्ट किया, नॉट फ्रॉम द डे from where I have availed this loan, from the period where I have started making payment. From that day, it will be 8 years. तो एक छोटा सा हम लोगों ने चार्ट बनाया है कि 5 लाख का लोन लिया है, 9% का इंटरेस्ट है और ये इसकी ब्रेकअप है 20 से स्टार्ट हुई है और 28 तक ही है. अब इसमें अगर आप नीचे देखेंगे तो ड्यूरिंग द ईयर 21 मिस्टर एक्स ने मोरेटोरियम बैंक से लिया. उसने कहा कि आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू पे माय EMI. तो अगर इस चार्ट को अगर आप देखेंगे तो 20 में हमारी जो इंटरेस्ट है 43,000 उसका ही डिडक्शन मुझे मिल रहा है. 21 में मैंने कोई भी पेमेंट नहीं करी. आई हैव नॉट पेड अ सिंगल अमाउंट एज EMI, सो आई एम नॉट अलाउड टू क्लेम एनी डिडक्शन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. Then again from 22 to 27, whatever interest has been paid, that has been allowed as a deduction. But अगर 28 को हम देखेंगे तो 28 में भी मैंने इंटरेस्ट को पेमेंट किया है, but it will not be allowed as a deduction because I have completed 8 years. तो आपको ये ध्यान रखना है कि जब से स्टार्ट करें उसके 8 साल के अंदर आप पेमेंट कर दें, so that इंटरेस्ट की जो बेनिफिट है वो आप पूरी की पूरी अवेल कर सके, so that आपका इंटरेस्ट का बेनिफिट है वो ना जाए. इवन इफ अगर मैं उसकी रीपेमेंट कर देता हूँ 8 साल के पहले भी तो मुझे रीपेमेंट का कोई बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा. ओनली बेनिफिट आई विल गेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. इस चार्ट में भी अगर आप देखेंगे, वी विल शेयर द चार्ट कि जो भी इंटरेस्ट मैंने दिया है, व्हाट एवर इंटरेस्ट दैट हैज बीन पेड, ओनली फॉर दैट आई एम गेटिंग डिडक्शन रिबेट, नॉट फॉर द प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट इवन इफ इट हैज बीन पेड इन एडवांस. And what are the conditions for availing this deduction? The CBDT has clarified that it has to be from notified institutions like any banks, NBFC. You can also take your loan from some approved charitable institution, but that has to be registered under 1023C. अगर वो एक स्पेसिफाइड सेक्शन होता है उसके अंदर अगर चैरिटेबल इंस्टीट्यूशन रजिस्टर्ड है और उससे भी मैंने अगर कोई लोन लिया है तो भी वो अलाउ होगा. Again, the person who is opting for this alternate tax regime, that is new regime, for them it is not allowed. नटसेल में अगर देखा जाए तो न्यू regime के अंदर मुझे एक पेंशन स्कीम है उसका ही बेनिफिट मिलता है जो कि 80cc/D के अंदर में आता है, उसकी ही बेनिफिट का मैं बेनिफिट ले सकता हूं। अदरवाइज न्यू रेजिम के अंदर में आप स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन हो गया और फिर आपका पेंशन स्कीम है, वही मेनली आती है, बाकी सारे स्कीम्स की बेनिफिट आपको नहीं मिलती है। Pradeep ji, can you confirm whether I should continue or like?
Yes, sir. You should continue, sir, because there is some technical issue with Samant ji's PPT,
Okay.
and that will not be able to run, sir.
Okay. Then I will be covering in some
Yes.
details so that.
Hopefully, if we will be having some queries, sir,
Yes, sir.
those
Yes,
should
yes.
come in the chat box, so you can continue with those also, sir.
Sure, sir. That we will cover.
Yes, sir.
And because जो participants हैं उनकी query का resolve होना ही सबसे, that is the best thing.
Yes.
So now we come to this NPS. And the government has come out with a new scheme of NPS that is very good scheme because nowadays after 21 people can opt for this NPS. तो NPS के अंदर में दो schemes होते हैं और like in NPS, a resident and non-resident both can take this benefit of this NPS. So the CBTT has notified two schemes. One is NPS, and secondly, they had come out with Atal Pencil Yojana. So both are part of NPS, and under both, if contribution is made, we can claim that deduction. So how much deduction can be claimed under NPS? So in previous slides, we had discussed like ATC, जिसके अंदर LIC, होम लोन, एजुकेशन लोन, सॉरी होम लोन की प्रिंसिपल पेमेंट, LIC, PF, GPF से सारी चीज आते हैं। 80CCC एन्युटी प्लान है, 80CCD1, ये सारे मिलके आई कैन क्लेम अप टू 1,50,000। सो फर्स्ट जो एम्प्लॉई की कंट्रीब्यूशन होती है प्लस माई ओन कंट्रीब्यूशन जो 80CCD1 के अंदर आता है उसके लिमिट है 1,50,000 एंड the contribution made by the employer to NPS account of the employee that covers under 80 section CCD2. इसके अंदर में जो एम्प्लॉयर अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन करता है वो टोटल का टोटल डिबेट मुझे मिलता है subject to the limit of 14%. Up to 14% of my salary, I can claim that deduction. Again, as we had discussed earlier, 80CCD1B के अंदर आप 50,000 का एडिशनल कंट्रीब्यूशन कर सकते हैं। 1,50,000 प्लस 50,000 प्लस जो आपका ओन कंट्रीब्यूशन एनपीएस के अंदर में है उसका आप क्लेम कर सकते हैं। तो अगर हम टोटलिटी को देखें तो एनपीएस के अंदर एक बहुत बड़ा बकेट बन सकता है। तो whenever you are like comparing with the new regime or old regime, if any person is making contribution to NPS, they must make sure that these deductions has been claimed properly. So already discussed that deduction can go up to 2 lakh. So out of total 2 lakhs, additional deduction is 50,000 is available under 80CCD 1B. And the CBDT has also clarified that even if I am not making contribution under 80C or 80CCD1, but additional 50,000 claim can be made is available to everyone. So this deduction can be claimed even if it is not made under first section. Then employees contribution to NPS, कोई भी employee जो 50,000 तक कर सकता है, that we have discussed. Employees contribution to NPS. So when an employer contributes to NPS, because that becomes part of my salary, that is getting clubbed in my income, my gross total income. So whatever employer is making contribution to the NPS, that is clubbed as a taxable salary. So once it is, because it gets clubbed under salary, I can claim a deduction of the same under 80CCD. And the limit for that is 14% of salary in case of government employees and the state government and the central government employees, which is applicable in most of our cases. सो 14% का जो सैलरी होता है उस तक का अगर मेरा कंट्रीब्यूशन है तो वो पूरी की पूरे अमाउंट को मैं एज ए डिडक्शन क्लेम कर सकता हूँ. 10% इट इज एप्लीकेबल फॉर अदर एम्प्लॉय, जो कि हम आप लोगों के केसेस में नहीं होगा. सो सैलरी, व्हाट इज द definition of salary for this purpose? So salary includes basic salary, DA plus if any commission, which will not be like in your cases. So salary basically will be basic plus DA. Then one point should be noted that whenever employers contribution to PF, NPS or superannuation fund should be limited to 7,50,000. अगर 7.5 लाख से ऊपर इसकी combined contribution मैं कर रहा हूँ, then it is taxable in the hands of employee. Any contribution above 7.5 lakhs in provident fund, NPS, superannuation fund, that will be taxable as per QGT. Self-employed person, that is not applicable for us. Then in NPS there are two types of account. One is Tier 1 account and Tier 2 account. So Tier 1 account is basically the retirement benefit account, which where mostly the employers make a deduction, and Tier 2 is just like a voluntary saving account, and it is treated as an investment. So we will just discuss the summary of NPS because NPS के अंदर अगर हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन बहुत जा रहा है तो हमें देख लेना चाहिए कि whether new scheme is more beneficial or new old scheme. So deduction made by the employee, ATCC subsection 1 up to 10% of my salary, the maximum deduction that is allowed is 1,50,000. Then additional deduction 50,000 that is allowed. And if it is an employer's contribution, that is ATCC to D subsection 2, then it is up to 14%. So whether deduction available under this new tax regime? Yes. This is the only section where new regime person can also claim a deduction. So you must be very cautious. Like if you are making any contribution to NPS and you are opting for this new regime, you must claim this deduction. And we have just given an example, so we will share the slides so that you can look see how much deduction that can be available. But again, I will just suggest you that whenever you are making an NPS, just make sure if any employers you are making any contribution to NPS, make sure that you are claiming it under salary, because this is the only section other than a standard deduction where claim can be made by an employee, so it can be good tax saving beneficial. Then what are the tax implications on withdrawal? If it is on the closure of NPS, the whole amount is tax free. But if it is a partial withdrawal, like if you are withdrawing before terms, then there will be certain tax liability. So partial withdrawal is allowed up to 25% of NPS you can withdraw, and maximum withdrawal from NPS allowed 3 times after a lock-in period of 3 years. If it is on the death of the subscriber, the whole amount is exempt from tax. But if you are on the completion of this NPS, if you are getting any pension annuity, that is taxable. In any, like you purchase any annuity from this NPS, that will be taxable, and that is not tax free. And if anyone is making an investment in Tier 2 account, that is treated as a simple saving account, and that is taxable. Any like gain is there, that is taxable under capital gain. So this is a summary of employees contribution to NPS 50,000. If it is employees contribution, then 14% of salary. For others, it is this. Accumulation, whatever corpus you get at the time of accumulation, it is tax free. Partial exemption is allowed 25% up to 25%. Final withdrawal at the time of closure or opting of the scheme, it is exempt up to 60% to the total corpus if you are purchasing the annuity. So pension plan income, any pension income is there, that is fully taxable, and that has to be taken care. And this is the only section where we get the benefit of new tax regime, and that can be claimed. So we have just made a chart like what are the situation where the new tax regime is more beneficial. One thing is would like to just suggest the income tax portal has given a very good feature there where you can compare both your new tax regime, what is the taxability under new tax regime and old regime, which is very simple. So that can be, you can always check, you can go to the site and just put your figures. You have to just put your total income, whatever deductions that are available, and the portal will give you a review which one is more beneficial. That is a very good feature, and I will suggest that whosoever is filing on their own, if you are filing through some professional help, of course they will take care. But whenever you are doing from your own, just make sure that you check the figures twice, because you can miss out any figure and that can result in a tax loss. So we have just worked out what are the tax regime which is more beneficial to an employee. If you like table 1, if you look, if you are not making you are not eligible for any deduction or you are not making any investment, by default this new tax regime is always beneficial, because uh, on the right hand side, this is the net saving that you are making if you are not making any investment under any clause other than standard deduction, which is applicable by default, 50,000 for old and new 75. So no deduction, then this new regime is more beneficial. Table 2, we have calculated, like if I am getting I'm making contribution only for ATC. ATC, it is 1,50,000. Still, we will find that the new tax regime is more beneficial because it is giving me more benefit. Because my deduction is limited to 1,50,000. And then if I am making contribution for ATC, ATD, and table 4, I will just come. If I'm making contribution towards ATC, ATD, then home loan is there. Then in that case, we will find even the old regime is more beneficial. And if I'm making contribution towards NPS, so basically what we have seen, if your income is around, if it is falling under 10 to 15 lakhs bracket, and you are making investment above 3.75 lakhs, then you must make a comparison, because in that case, old regime can be more beneficial. And one good thing is that you can always opt for that new regime or old regime. So one more thing, just like to suggest that returns should be filed within due date, because if you don't file the return by due date, then this option of shifting to old regime will not be there. So that's why we suggest the return should be always filed within due date, and so that you can take the maximum benefit. One more thing, just like to just suggest, like if anyone who has not filed their return for this current year, by 31st December, you have a chance to file your belated return, or if you find that any some mistake has been made or something has been left, or you had not even been able to calculate your tax properly, so you can revise your return, and the time is 31st December. So by 31st December, you can you should revise, or if return has not been filed, it can be filed belatedly with a late fee. So with that, I just end my presentation, and I would be happy to take if any query is there. Pradeep ji, over to you.
Sir, there are we are expecting that maybe there will be some queries from the attendees. One query I can see in chat box. It is from Jitendra Kumar. Is contribution in NPS by employee and employer both are exempted in new tax regime?
In new tax regime, employers' contribution to NPS is exempted. That is section 80 CCD2 that I had already said in the slide. For new regime, there is one deduction, that is employer's contribution to NPS, that is up to 14% of your salary. So whatever contribution you are making to NPS, if you are opting for the new regime, you can claim that deduction.
Sir, one more query that I received on my text, sir, that accrual in case of home loan and education loan, these both are treated differently for the deduction purpose?
Yes. In case of home loan, what the word used by CBTT is on accrual basis. So accrual means even if EMI has, like suppose I am having an EMI of 20,000 per month. So 2,40,000 I have to make a payment. But suppose I had not made the payment, I have made hardly 1 lakh. So whatever interest is there of 2,40,000, they may say around 1.5 lakhs is my interest and 90,000, 80,000 is my principal component. Even if I have not made the whole payment, I can claim because the word used is accrual. But in case of education loan, they had used the word, it has to be made, payment has to be made, payment has to be made. That is, it has to be on the cash basis. Only if I make a payment, only then I am allowed that deduction. That I had even like highlighted in my slide also, in one of the year 21, I had not made any payment of EMI. So in that year, I have not been allowed any interest, but if in subsequent year I have made any payment, so I will be allowed the interest for the previous years also. But interest on home loan, it is on accrual basis, even if I am not making payment. In case of education loan, the payment has to be made compulsorily, mandatory.
Thank you, sir. Not many queries, sir. Means maybe because the presentation was so elaborate and the comparisons wherever it was required was really taken care of at the time where it cropped up, sir. And as you have mentioned at a certain point, sir, that to a certain in slab where person reaches somewhere between 10 lakh and 15 lakh, means there is the point where the person can go for old tax regime and get a more benefit. In our department also, sir, means we sometimes see that normally we are having two generations of people working together. Many are already having some home loans already running with them. They are all means in conventional type of banking and having the habit of saving a lot and investing in the conventional style of things. And the new generation who are like more aggressive, who are like in share market, sometimes means in the name of spouse or means kids. So means a word of advice, sir, to some of the things. What you will suggest means to keep more money in hand by way of opting new pension scheme, or just going by the means earlier, though it's like very personal thing, person to person it can vary, and means as per aptitude and attitude it can vary. So your word of advice to the people, sir, who are means attending today.
I certainly would suggest to go with a balance like balanced attitude. Honestly speaking, people who are of like this current generation, then they are very like they can make good money through because they really do R&D, they do stock market study, and they are more aggressive. And they at this stage, like anybody from 30 to 45, I think up to 45, we should be more like risk taking capacity is more. So we can go for better options like ELS, mutual funds, where we can get a return of 18, 17, 18, 20%. If we are looking at a long-term perspective, certainly would suggest that not to invest all your money in a single basket. As it is said, you don't put all your eggs in a single basket. So, in the initial stage, it can be like 30% in fixed type of NPS or this 60 to 70%, I will certainly suggest to go for this equities and this. Once you cross in age of 45, 50, it can be like 50-50. Again, after 55, you should, because that risk taking capacity or that mindset gets at the early stage, you can take risk, but as you go older, you become a very like, just like driving up 30-35 में बड़ा फास्ट चलाने के 25 में करते हैं 60 आते आते बड़े स्लो चलते हैं. So that is the mindset, and I will suggest go for a balanced investment. Certainly, NPS You start early, you will get a benefit. But equity, current the market ki scenario hai, we should be putting a good amount of money in this equity market. And with the new regime where we don't get any benefit, it is always advisable to go for all these instruments like even government gold sovereign bonds. You see what is the return we are getting. Fixed rate is there plus linked to the market. So it's better to offer the new investment option than being stuck in the old like FD and this. That is my personal suggestion.
Thank you, sir. One more query, sir, came up from Ganesh Goreji. Both HRA and interest on home loan can be taken simultaneously?
See, both can be taken if I like. Suppose I am working in Mumbai and I am getting an HRA, and I am having a flat in Delhi, and where I am paying interest. So both I can claim. Both can be claimed also.
Thank you, sir. And there is one request from Geeta madam, who wants to know if this PPT can be shared, sir. Maybe if she's
Yes,
having
yes.
some
I
query,
have
she would like to come.
Yes,
Go
yes, sir.
with
I
it,
have
sir.
already shared this PPT and the slides with the DGTS people. I have already
We
shared,
certainly,
and
Geeta madam, we certainly will share it with you. Means you can drop your mail ID or something
or
on the
you
chat
can
box.
like you can
We'll
drop
share.
your mail ID. We will share it personally, not a problem. Whoever wants this slide, you can just mail us the email ID or phone number. Also, we will send them. Certainly, we will send them all the PPT and slides on their personal mail ID, and we have already shared with your department people. So, as you wish, we can do that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for coming to this webinar at a very short notice, sir. Means we are really very grateful that you come up with this elaborate and means extensive study on the two regimes that we are having available to us today. And means for coming up on this short notice, sir, we are really grateful. And thanks for this presentation and sparing time for this means staff side of benefits, sir. Now I would like to seek permission from our principal ADG, sir, Sumit Kumar, sir, to conclude this particular webinar. And before doing that, I would like to
Yes, we may conclude the program.
Sir. Sir.
Yes, we may conclude the program. Yes.
Sir.
Thank you.
I would like to give a note of thanks to everybody who joined us today and to all the chief commissioners' offices, means where we communicated that this particular webinar will be conducted for the staffs and officers side, as we are like reaching to the stage where next year's financial year planning will be done by the people and they will be filing their returns in next 4 or 5 months. So thank you very much, Vinod sir. Thank you everybody for joining this webinar and making it a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone, and thank you Pradeep ji and all the staff and all the office bearer for giving us this opportunity. And we hope that we have been able to do some justice. And in future, we will be happy to help you out with whatever we can. Thank you very much.
It was certainly a very nice experience and a very good presentation, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And extremely sorry for the interruptions that we found with the technical thing, with the Maruti sir.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Vinod sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.